All right, good afternoon. Today is Monday, November 15th, 2021, and today we're really looking at a downtrend day. Right at 5 a.m., prices were still trending up, making probably 1-2 legs up. But then from there on, it was just a downtrend day. You can see we broke this channel right here, and price has been pretty much sideways since then. So let's take a look at these. Oh, by the way, let's just look at this measured move. So you see we made this leg down, and this was the low of that leg, and then we made a second leg down. We made a measure move, and you can see we got a first test, second test, third test, fourth test, and then we bounced out of there, broke that channel, and that's how I saw it. So let's take a look at these trades. So 5 o'clock comes. I noticed on my Friday video that I wasn't zoomed in, so sorry about that. But we get this first failed second entry. Oh, never mind. Okay. So that's actually a third entry. You see, this is the second entry. But that's far from the EMA anyway, and it's going into these highs, so I didn't take that. I was a little too weary of that. Then we make this leg down, which was looking really strong. But I was kind of thinking that we were going to retest this high. So I wasn't ready to go short just yet. At least in this congestion. Then we make a new high, and when you get this first entry, failed second entry long, you might consider that, but that's very congestive as well. And it's at the midline, so that just makes me a little nervous. We get a bounce right here, and you get a first entry and second entry short, and I think you got to take that. Looks like there's room to the EMA. 88. So it's a little tight, but and that's probably why I marked it as aggressive. But look, that's a lower high. Lower high. We make this high, lower high, lower high. Looks pretty good to me. And then we make a first entry, failed second entry long. I think you really got to take that, especially it looks like if you had your trend line drawn like that, that looks pretty good. Or you could just be looking at it like we got one leg down, you're expecting a second leg. That's what we get. But then at this point, it's looking really congestive. You can see, I wanted to show you this because this is, I'm trying to get, Mac has been talking about, like, you know, tests, first test, second test, triple tests, and I think I was very wrong in the first like 12 months of me studying this, and so now I'm starting to get a feel of what these tests are. And so here you can see we make these lows. Okay, we get this test right here. So that's the first test, second test right here. And I wouldn't look at this as a double test, but all these prices have been below the EMA, so I don't like that. But this one, that's a triple test, and it closes above the EMA. Is that an aggressive move? Yeah, because we're in congestion. But I was looking at that. I think I might have taken this on the simulator. I forget. I really like that. And so I like that as a triple test. And then when we come up here, this is very congestive. This kind of looks like a new low. So I was kind of looking at this as like a first. Oh, wait, no, this is kind of like a third entry. But the reason I like this is because I had this midline drawn. I didn't know it was my midline at this point. I thought it was my I thought it was the bottom of my channel. So this looked like it was off the trend channel, and it's just at the top of congestion. And you can see all the people who did go long on this, or here, they all exited right here. So I did, watching that in real time, I like that. It closes beneath the EMA, but it's aggressive because you're going into the midline. You're in congestion. It just doesn't look as good. And if you do have this trend line drawn, you might take this on a lower high. You might. And that gets you a really good move all the way down to this measured move. And you get a first failed second entry long. Technically, this isn't a new high. This is the high, so that's technically a first, second, third entry long, but I'm going to look at that as a failed second entry long, because when we have this dramatic move like this, I look at this as the high. And then this is a double bottom. We should have looked at this as a double bottom. So that's what would have kept you out of this trade as a second entry short. But really, also, what could have kept you out is if you looked at this as a channel like that, instead of the lows being here. And that's valid too, because you can see this looks like a midline. Then, all of a sudden, this looks like an overshoot. An overshoot that also is a triple test at this measured move. That's what I think could have kept you out of here. That was the first trade I took on the on my regular account today, so that was pretty unfortunate. But if we look at this as a double bottom, which it really does look that way, or triple bottom, that resets the count and you get a first, second entry right here. I took this as well. But look, I had a heart attack when it came up here, so I got out at break even. But that would have been a nice move down. And once we get this fourth test or whatever, triple test, expect to bounce. And when we got this higher low, I think that's a great entry. I took that just expecting to ride it to these highs, but you get much more out of it. The failure comes right here. You could take that. And so let me shrink this channel. But you can see prices bouncing off of it here. I just want to shrink this channel to clear things up. We get this channel up. You get a break and a move to a new high. Okay. So for that reason, I'm trying to think of ways how can I clear this chart up a little bit. It's getting a little crazy over here. So for that reason, we get a break of this channel and a move to a new high. Let me just delete this. You might consider this first failed second entry long, thinking we're going to get a move to a new low. But that signal bar, I didn't like that signal bar. And you might take this as like, I don't look at this as a first failed second entry long, but it looks like it might be. This one is also a second entry short. But this looks like a lower high off the trend line, so you might take that. But I was just worried because of this congestion. And it looks like we're going into the lows of that congestion. And then we get a break of that. And now it's just looking like this is some two-tiered congestion. As you can see, we broke a little further down than this, and then it rocketed back up. And you might take this first, second entry long. That goes to the highs. That's in the middle of congestion. It's just not a good idea. And here we get a first failed second entry long. I like this because this is clearly a trend down, and there's not a lot of price acceptance like there is here. So I like that. And then we break out of these lows, and you get a higher low right here. I like that entry. It looks like there's room to scalp out back to the EMA. But then you get this failure right here. Closes on its high. It looks like it's off the short-term trend channel. I like that move a lot. So that's what I saw for today. Let's take a look at my trades real quick. So I was patient this morning. But unfortunately, I got stopped out on this one. Luckily, I entered on a limit order. But yeah, I think I should have been looking at this as a triple bottom. Especially had I seen that this was a measured move. I saw this measured move after the fact. Had I seen, and then we get this double test, I wouldn't have went short there. Or I mean, I say that in hindsight, but I really don't think I would have went short there. I probably would have went long, to be completely honest. But then I went short there, and I'm not mad at myself for getting out at break even on this, especially when you get this doji and all these overlapping bars. but it is a second entry short, and I got out at break even. And I do like this entry for sure, just a high or low. After that's when I had seen that this was a measured move. So, and I was looking at this as an overshoot. Yeah, I took this as a second entry long, which you definitely should not be doing that. We're expecting a move to a new low, first of all, because of the break of this channel. But second of all, look how congested this is. Just stay out of congestion. And what did I do over here? I looked at this. This is just me not paying attention, really. I'm like, oh, this looks like a second entry long. First entry, second entry. Well, yeah, it does. And maybe on a strong uptrend day, you want that. But this is not a strong uptrend day. This was a downtrend day, and now we're in congestion. But if you are patient and you take the actual true second entry long, it would have gotten you a scalp. So just follow the rules. And I think that's all I took. Yeah, that's all I took. So that's what I saw today. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope everyone had a great day. See you tomorrow.